Did you just poop? Hi everyone, welcome to the next episode of A Latte Words. I have my little co-star here, Sebastian. He's gonna help me today because we're gonna be talking all about writing with a baby. He's not too amused. I am a first-time mom and I had no idea just how much went into caring for a baby, especially a newborn. Sebastian here is 6 months old, but he still kind of feels like a newborn sometimes with how demanding he is. And parenthood has required me to change so much about my writing. So even though I'm still learning how to navigate writing as a parent, I wanted to share some tips that I found useful along the way so far. So my first tip might sound counterintuitive, but it's basically to just wait. If your baby is in the newborn stage, which is basically from birth to 3 months old, maybe 4 months, it's really difficult to do any sort of work. I now see why we really need longer parental leave after having a baby, because it's so demanding. For me, I kind of consciously decided I am not gonna write for a couple of months because I want to learn all about this little guy right here. I wanted to learn as much as I could about Sebastian. I wanted to learn what all of his cries meant. I wanted to learn his expressions and learn how to communicate with him. It's so important to do that. So for me, that was my main focus the first few months. And since I put the time in for that, it's made it easier now to more quickly see to his needs, which leaves more time for writing. So my next tip is still very difficult for me to actually pull off myself, and that's to adjust your expectations. When I was writing before Sebastian, I was spending 4 or 5 hours, sometimes more a day, focusing on my writing, and I had nothing distracting me. And as you can see, that's impossible now. There are constant distractions. And adjusting my expectations of myself to going from maybe a few thousand words a day to, if I'm lucky, 200 words was a little bit difficult for me. Just mentally, I beat myself up a lot, and that was definitely not good. My perfectionism side came out a little bit too much, and now that I'm a parent, I realize nothing is ever going to be perfect. It's impossible. Really, I just need to learn to be nicer to myself and be okay with 200 words a day, if even that. So this leads in very nicely to the next tip, which is exercise flexibility. This one seems pretty obvious. Before, I could only write in cafes or in certain rooms in my house, and it had to be this perfect setup in order for me to get into the writing flow. And now there's no chance for me to do any kind of special writing flow. It's literally just jotting things down on my phone sometimes, voice notes, things that I never used to use because I always was dependent on my laptop. Now I absolutely need anything and everything just to be able to do a little bit of writing here and there. And this is especially true for fantasy writers or sci-fi writers or anybody in any genre that is a little bit different from the norm, where you have to get into, where you have to get into new worlds. So it's basically jumping from an alien space opera involving a vampire into changing a poopy nappy and going back into it again and hoping you continue writing. So it's a lot, and it's actually kind of a fun challenge. It's something new. My fourth tip is something that I kind of laugh at. I don't know why I'm giving you this as a tip, because it bothers me when people tell me to meditate, especially right now. He's never gonna let me meditate. So my form of meditation is just closing my eyes as he's screaming and I'm trying to get him to sleep, and going into this Zen moment just for a few seconds where I can deeply breathe in and feel my lungs expand and breathe out as he poops all over me. So yeah, what I mean by meditation is literally 1 or 2 minutes while you're in the shower trying to rinse off all the various fluids. My fifth writing tip is to find a great writing group that maybe involves a few other parents, because that can really just be helpful for day-to-day, commiserating together about having trouble with sleep or having trouble finding the time to write, which we all have problems with as parents. For really any hobby or job, it's hard to find the time to continue it without, nannies or babysitters or daycare. And right now I've got none of that. But having a writing group is kind of like having your own little tribe where you can all kind of work together and help each other out in various ways. Also, maybe some free used clothes, right? So my next tip is very similar to the flexibility tip, but I wanted to highlight this part. Jot down notes as they come, because for me, mommy brain is a real thing. I can't remember anything. 5 minutes from now, I'm going to forget what I even said just now. And 20 minutes from now, I'm definitely not going to be remembering that cool story idea that I had while I was in the shower washing off the pee. And my last tip is to write about what you're going through right now. You can use this little guy as inspiration for your next novel. Are you pooping again? I've always personally been very, very much in support of writing what you know. Even if you're writing a sci-fi or a historical, you can still take elements of your own life and your own experiences and put them into your characters' lives, and maybe write about a young mom or dad or any parent who may have a little one and maybe struggling in some way, in the same way that you might be struggling, and by writing about it, you might be able to work through it. Yeah! Yeah! Simba! And he's getting antsy, so I think that's my time to go. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy this and want to keep watching us, he might be in future videos, I don't know yet. But if you do, definitely make sure to hit subscribe below. Say bye!